guys. I just wanted to talk again because I love talking. But I just wanted to make videos to encourage you during this time of social distancing, when the world is just home. I want to encourage you to figure this book out. This book is probably sitting on your shelf. If not, it's in your phone. There is an app you can download that has the entire Bible in it. And this is a book that, I'll be honest, I grew up with. I grew up reading it after dinner every night as a family. I grew up just knowing it. Like, I could give you all the answers on the Bible quiz. I have grown up with this book. And I'll be honest, it hasn't been until this year when I have developed a deep love for it. A deep love that goes beyond just a verse in the morning for a devotion to check on a fear list, but like devouring it and feasting on it because it is the Word of God and there is so much in it. And in our current reality, there are news medias, there are news stories every day developing. But what are the facts? Like, that's always the question. Did you fact check it? And I had a lot of assumptions about faith, about Christianity, about God, without fact checking them. And honestly, I started doing a Bible reading plan last September that has changed my life, changed how I view the Bible. It's all true, you guys. The entire book is all true and it all still applies. And there's just so many assumptions I had made of, well, certain books don't really apply anymore, or, just certain things, I just don't really like that. So I can just pick that out. But when you look at it as the whole word, it's going to change your whole life. And so I want to encourage you during this time of Corona, during this time of being at home, please pick this up and start reading it. Not just one verse, chapters, books at a time. Like, you can sit down and read the entire book of Galatians in 30 minutes. Like, I had never approached the word in its entirety before. I had my favorite verses highlighted, but when you actually look, whoa, what is he saying to this church? What is God saying to this whole people group? How does it all play together? And where do we fit into it? When you just take it as it's true and it's the facts, it's going to revolutionize everything in your life. Anyways, there's a book in here about the middle of the Bible called Ecclesiastes. And Ecclesiastes was written by a man named Solomon. Solomon was the wisest man, the richest man. He was the king. He had built God's temple. He had tons of wives. Millions, not millions, 700 wives. It's a lot of wives. He had everything. Like, the most money, the most women, the most wisdom. And he wrote a book called Ecclesiastes, and he's just questioning everything in his life. He's like, what is the purpose of it? I don't understand it. And you're like, well, you have the most money in the world. You should be satisfied. Or you have the most women in the world. You should be satisfied. You have the most wisdom and knowledge in the world. You should be satisfied. And he goes through the entire book, and he's like, it's just meaningless. It lasts so temporarily. And I think that's where a lot of us are at right now, is what is the purpose of life? Like, everything we've known has been stripped away. Everything that was familiar is now not. We're home. And our jobs are not the same. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. So there's just so many questions right now of what is our purpose? What is the purpose of life? There's so many questions. And when you get to the end of the book, when you get to chapter 12, he still has questions. He still has everything that he has been questioning. And this verse, this is the verse I want you to take a hold of and to grasp and to wrestle with and to just figure out what it means, okay? Chapter 12, verse 13. When all has been heard, the conclusion of this matter is this. So the conclusion of what matter? What is the purpose of life? Is this. Fear God and keep his commands, because this is the purpose for all humanity. So this wasn't just who he was writing to his audience. It wasn't just for other kings. It wasn't just for Israelites. All humanity is this. Fear God and keep his commands. For God will bring every act to judgment, including every hidden thing, whether good or evil. God is the judge. He has not forgotten us. He is still going to bring justice to things that we see as injustice. But here is our purpose. Our purpose in this life, in this quarantine, when things are going well, fear God and keep his commandments. Those are the two things. And those two things are spoken of throughout the entire Bible. It's like in the beginning, when God creates heavens and the earth, and he tells Adam, he gives him a command. Tells him not to eat from the tree. That was his command. Fear God and keep my commands. You go over to Moses, giving the law of God to the people. Fear God and obey his commandments. Like, that is your purpose. And it doesn't matter if you're an Israelite or an Egyptian or an American. Fear God and keep his commandments. That is the purpose for all humanity. You go to the end of the book. The end of the book is Revelation. A lot of people don't really know what to do with Revelation, and it is confusing for sure. But what he says when he talks about the people who have been sealed for him is, here are the things that they did. They feared God and they kept his commandments. They had faith in Jesus and they kept his commandments. Those are the two things from the beginning to the end. Every day, whether you're in quarantine or whether you are out living up life, fear God, keep his commandments. And those two things, honestly, you're going to have to dive into this to figure out what that means, to figure out what does it mean to keep his commandments? What does it mean to fear God? Because he has life. He has blessing for us when we do those two things. That is a promise. Our life is not going to be easy, to be honest. In fact, Jesus says it won't be easy. And we're all going to die at some point, whether it's from corona or whether it's from old age. We're all going to die. But in the meantime, in this window of time that is so brief, how can you have purpose? You can have purpose by fearing God and keeping his commandments. Figure out what that means. And the only way you can figure that out is not by what someone else has told you, not by having assumptions of what being a Christian is like, because a lot of those things have been stripped away. A lot of our churches aren't meeting right now. A lot of our traditions have changed. And what a beautiful thing, what a fresh slate right now to figure out, Lord, what does it mean to fear you, and how can I keep your commandments? Like, I have a lot of assumptions about this, but take those away and let me see you. How can I fear you, and how can I keep your commandments? So that is my encouragement for you during this quarantine time. Pick this up and just start reading it. If you're not a big reader, push play on your phone. Like, it will read it to you and just fill your life with the word, because that is our purpose. That is literally our only purpose in this brief life, fearing God and keeping his commandments. So that's just what I want to encourage you guys to do today. The rest of the time, wrestle with what Solomon says in Ecclesiastes. Maybe you have those questions of purpose, of what am I doing with my life? Go to Ecclesiastes, read through, but don't forget the end. The end is key. The only purpose of humanity is to fear God and keep his commandments. So go read that. Dive in. Let me know what you're learning and what he's teaching you. God bless. I will see you next time.